All right, yo, what's going on? How you guys doing today? Happy Friday to everyone. This is Teck One. This is my brother Geo, and this is OneM1c episode 3. And Geo, just want to ask you real quick before we start. How you doing? How you feeling, man?
Doing good, man. I'm just been on vacation, just been relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Feel good. How about you?
I'm chilling, man. I'm just excited to do the pod, have a conversation, and getting ready for the Super Bowl coming up. There's a few more things I'll probably share probably next week. So before we start, I do want to ask Geo. We've done 3 episodes, and Geo has 3 different looks. I don't know what to expect next week. God will, we have another chance next week. I don't know what to expect because I've never seen Geo with a full beard. I thought just the stash, the 1980 porn star stash, was different. This is taking it to another level. So I don't know what's gonna happen next week. So do you have a story behind this, dude? What's going on?
uh, Look, man.
Midlife crisis?
It's not a midlife crisis. So, for those who don't know, I did 20 years in the military, 20 plus. And we don't shave in the military, right? You don't grow a beard, you don't grow a mustache. You can grow a mustache, but it's like tailored. It almost looks like a Hitler stash, right? It has to be like 1/8 of an inch all the way around. It's crazy, right? So, with me just recently retiring, and this happens with a lot of military people. When you retire, like one of those things you can't wait to do is to grow, a beard to see what it looks like. You know what I mean? And then I didn't know what it looked like, and I looked it up, and I got like the John Wick with the little lines on the side. So for 40 plus years to find out what it looks like. So that's your answer. So it's in its ugly phase, as beard people call it. I don't know if y'all know that. But yeah,
So
man,
so you were freestyling. So this
I'm
is not
look,
planned.
I'm figuring this out as y'all are figuring this. So and next week might be shaved. You know what I'm saying? I got past that like itchy phase, as those of y'all who grow beard know. Um,
Yeah.
so it's starting to grow in.
Are you walking around the house with socks and sandals?
Bro, I got sandals, I got robe. Can't tell you much more after that. You know what I mean? Because you have to be into my private into my private group to know more details. But I'm chilling, man. I'm relaxing. I'm appreciating and enjoying
Mm.
my well deserved break from 20 years of service to the country. So I'm chilling.
Hey man, we appreciate that and salute to you. And 20 years is a long time doing anything, but putting your life on the line, definitely we appreciate that. So because of that, I'll let the beard go on. I don't know if you're gonna
Thank you.
stop braiding next week. We'll see. Little twist here and there. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Look,
But whatever you bring, we'll take it. So
hey, that's what it's about. I like it. I appreciate it.
all right. So let's one thing I want to get into real quick. I just want to say uh this episode is brought to you by JP Custom Ink. If you anything you need, if you need t-shirts, hats, pins, socks, you name it, hit up JP Custom Ink. All right. All right. One thing I want to say, we had a video on our channel that was posted 13 days ago. It's got some views, some comments, which we appreciate. So I do want to say thank you to everybody who said anything, who clicked the like, who viewed it, who shared it. I just want to say we appreciate it. And hopefully we can keep doing this and you guys support. And like I said, we do appreciate it. And I also want to say that video that kind of got some traction, it was because of we were talking about the podcast called The Pivot and also I Am Athlete. So shout outs to both of their fans as well, because a lot of people had a lot of things to say, but it wasn't disrespectful. It was more giving critique, what they wanted to see, what they liked about the podcast, and what they liked on the new podcast. So everything was respectful. So I appreciate that a lot. And I think we should. This is gonna sound crazy. Pivot. I think you know that was coming. Let's pivot and just talk about because there's a lot of things coming out now when it
Yeah.
comes to what happened, the relationship, what happened to the pod. I know we don't want to beat this thing to death, but it's something that people are talking about, and people are invested in both of podcasts, and I think it's something that we should talk about. I don't know if you saw the Bussin' Boys episode, Geo.
Yeah, I saw I didn't watch the whole episode, but you know how like they break it down into like 10-minute clips, throughout their stuff. So I
Hmm.
watched the specific clip that they were answering the questions about what happened, right? Getting more into details on how it all went down. They added more to what they had said from their podcast, their first Pivot podcast that they did. So they added a little bit more detail that I was pretty surprised that they brought out now because
Yeah,
there's little differences from what they said before to what they're saying now, or additions, I should say.
yeah. I mean, I get it though because, like Fred was saying, you know, the podcast took off. So it was like there was no time to like, yo, this is what we're doing. This is the structure. So these are the people that's on it. These are the people who owns this. This is what's going to be happening. And I can see where that can get cloudy and kind of, go left real quick because once they see the numbers too, it's like, hey, we got to figure out who owns what and
Right.
what's the title of me, this person, that person. So I can see where that went left a little bit. But I saw today where Fred called Brandon bad business Brandon. I thought that was tough, man. I think I think Fred should have left that alone a little bit, even though they're being asked, because it
Right.
seems like they're doing some kind of
Yeah. How you answer matter. Right.
yeah, man. Because I don't know. I expected Fred to be better than that though. Like, just let it go. I know you're being asked everywhere now, because that podcast is taking off. Um, I know that a lot of people went to I Am Athlete and they noticed that they're putting their video at the same time as the Pivot is dropping their videos. Now it's like a thing. So I don't know if that's why maybe Fred is just putting it out there. I don't know.
Look,
Possibly.
if I can add a little bit, because my take is this: one, we don't know, right? And the
Yeah.
reason why we're talking about it is not to like ride off their coattails, essentially, but because we
Yeah.
are both fans of both of those shows, right? Like it impacted us just as much. The reason why it exploded was because of the content, right? And how it became so good, and that's the reason why we like it. We talk about it because we like it, right? It's like having your favorite sport team or your celebrity that you like to follow. Like we like the podcast thing, so I did notice that there was a change in their tone, right? And it could be for a lot of reasons, right? One reason that I can speculate is when they first came out and it was the first episode, they were like, "We take the high road." And they were very cryptic and very vague about what went down. They made it seem like, yeah, the business wasn't buttoned down. They said that a few times, right? Like they didn't button down the business to get it all down. They didn't know that it was going to blow up the way that it did. So
Right.
the fame and the attention and the size grew beyond what they had planned originally, right? So they talk about that. Um, but they were very humble about the reason why they left. Both OG and Shan both said in their own way, like briefly on that first episode. But then all of a sudden this week they're coming out. You said, they called them Triple B, right? Bad business Brandon. that's not high road, right? And I
Yeah.
agree, like that's not the route they should have made. And then another thing that I heard Chan say was Brandon doesn't like people, right? So clearly, I think it was two things. It was the money situation fell off when they blew up the way that they did, and they talked about how last summer of 2021, they came back together to kind of like rehash things and figure out where they're at because the business had grown so big and like out of control. And then they realized Brandon had most of the creative control, most of the financial investment. They weren't partners. They were partners, not owners, right?
Right.
So it was definitely a money thing and it was definitely a business thing. I think more importantly, it was a personal thing where they came together as boys and all of a sudden the money became more, the fame became more, and then it became separate. We're partners, but not co-owners. And I think that's where it was. But I think why, not to, I'll keep it short here. I think one of the reasons why is I can speculate is when they came out on the high road on the first episode, they didn't know how many people were going to possibly go with them, right? When
Yeah.
they knew after like a couple of episodes went in, oh, we're getting the same number, we're getting we don't need to be as high road as we need to. That's one
Right.
speculation, right? The second one is maybe they continue to talk with the people from I Am Athlete. I don't want to specific because I know it's more than just Brandon. We tend to say Brandon, but it's more than them, right?
Right.
They continue to talk or lack thereof, or continue to quote unquote having beef, right? So probably something got worse from when they came out the first time. Maybe it is like it's the space fighting, right? Why you gotta why you gotta release your content the same hour and day that I released my content, if that's the fact, right? So maybe something happened from then to now that it's like now the gloves are off.
Right.
So to rehash, it's either they realize, oh, we could do it without, being nice because we got all the people, right? Or it was things got worse and now the gloves are off because they're hitting uh I'm athlete pretty hard and
Yeah.
Brandon specifically.
Yeah, but it almost feels like, I call up Geo. That's my boy. We're going to this party. It's gonna be off the hook, right? You're my plus one. We get there, and you're like, "What's Tech? I'm somewhere, right? I'm
Yeah.
somewhere. I probably left and just left you there. That's what it feels like. Like we came together, we're doing something, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, what? You pulled a rug under me. Like,
Yeah.
what's all of this? I think it's more than just. Um, I think it's. I think it's more than just we didn't have the business tighten up. It sounds good, but I think it's probably more than that. I think Brandon probably went ahead and started signing things. It's under my company and my name, and next thing you know, they're like, bro,
Yeah.
what are we? We came
Yeah.
in this together day
Right.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I just listen, man. I will say we're fans of both. I listen to both equally. Whoever's got an episode out, I'm listening.
Right.
Just
Me
the
too.
same.
Right.
So to me, I think both of those guys got something good going. But we'll see where this goes from here.
Yeah. Um, One more thing on that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it. I think you did, but I've noticed, since the split up or the breakup or and all that, haven't you noticed the word pivot being mentioned in both podcasts by guests and the hosts themselves? Marshawn Lynch was just on Pivot. He
Right.
said pivot twice, right? So, and then there was, I can't remember, I think it was one of the more recent episodes on I Am Athlete. They said pivot too. Just imagine, if you
Yeah.
can for a second, if you're Brandon Marshall, and people keep saying it, right? And it's got to trigger him a little bit, right? It's like your girlfriend left you for a guy named Brad, and you're with your friends, and they're like, "Hey, man, that's a Brad move," right? And then you think Brad, like, damn, Jennifer left me for Brad. Like, people keep saying that word because now it's a popular word. Believe it or not, it's perfect. Either it sounds like they brought that word into popularity, right? Because nobody was really using it like that.
Yeah, and I think what makes that word stick out even more, it's the fact that they came from one situation and they pivot.
Right.
So it just sounds good. Yeah, I think Brandon Marshall don't want to hear anybody say pivot. I don't care if you're talking about basketball. Like your pivot footage, no, we
Yeah.
don't pivot.
I I guarantee you it's going to happen at least one more time, or at least he's briefing them. Hey, you say pivot, this interview's over.
I think he's probably said pivot himself, and then he just
I
edited the
yeah,
whole thing.
like it's just a thing. I just thought it was interesting, and it's very funny that people are doing that, and it's just like I can imagine that it triggers them in one way or another on that. But
Yeah. So I just be chilling with a girl on the couch, like, you want to pivot to the bedroom? You know what I'm saying? Let's pivot this whole thing, man. But it is a good word, though, man. And the whole thing just makes sense. I think that's why that word sticks out. Even, the logo, everything's just good. But
yeah, it's
follow
clean. Yeah.
both, man. Watch both, listen to both, because you're gonna get jewels from both of them. No matter if you like this person or you don't like this person. At the end of the day, if you really listen, you can get jewels even from you know someone you don't like. So I think just listening, you can get jewels from both podcasts. I think they're going to be good. Um, and I think they have J.R. Smith coming up, and I can't wait for that one. I think that one's going to be pretty good. I saw I would say 60-second clip. It's Brandon by himself. I wish he had his crew with him, like Chad and what's that running back? What's his name?
The running back.
Yeah. Uh, you know who the guy played for Eagles there? Oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. I think people's asking for him too.
Talking about
McCoy,
Shady.
Shady
Shady.
McCoy.
Oh yeah. I think
Yeah.
Shady would be great, but he's not like officially like one of the hosts or anything, right?
No, he was just a guest, and people
Yeah,
just
I think
liked
he'd be
him.
great. Yeah, he's got a great personality, man. I think he definitely livens it up. He adds a little bit of wild card element to it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
uh, Brandon's a little bit more buttoned up to a degree, right? Like as far as form, he wants to stick to it, and
Yeah.
Shady is like kind of wild with it. You know what I mean? In a good way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
So
mean, it's good to have that wild card, man. Something that you're just sitting there having a conversation. You're like, wait, what did you just say? So it adds to the podcast. So I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But speaking of pivot, here let's go to NBA and talk about a guy who can't keep a pivot. He's always traveling, if you ask me. And with that, you know what I
yeah,
mean. So so 76ers and the Nets made a trade yesterday, Thursday. So 76ers, they traded James Harden for Ben Simmons. Also, Nets get Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round pick.
right.
Um, I think this trade actually is good for both teams, especially with Harden not want to be there. Dude's talking about he has an injury. Um, there was a couple of times where a lot of players actually were saying that he's not hustling. He doesn't want to be there, and you can kind of just see it. He was frustrated with the whole Kyrie thing. Now that Kyrie's back, he's happy, but then again, he's not playing home games, so it's just like I think James Harden, he checked out already. If you
Yeah,
ask me, so I actually do think this trade make both teams better because the Nets is getting a freaking shooter in Seth Curry.
yeah.
Andre Drummond.
Drummond. That's what I
I
was gonna
like
say.
Drummond, man. I like
He
this. I like Drummond, man, because look, the Nets don't have a big man really.
That's what he's going to anchor that, and he's just a big
Yeah.
friggin' brick
And then you
wall.
throw Simmons with
Yeah,
that defense, that wide span, and then you throw KD in there. Like you got
yeah,
two wings with the wide span. I think it's going to help that defense, and I think rebounding and defense is what they needed. Shooting,
yeah,
Kyrie and KD, they're good to
yeah,
go as far as
yeah.
offense. So,
Right.
but what do you think about the trade? Does this trade make the 76ers better, or do you think it makes the Nets better? What do you think?
I
Because
don't know,
Embiid's
man.
on
Like
fire.
I'm looking at their roster right now. Like, who's their big man now? Right?
We talking about the Nets?
The Nets. Yeah, not the Nets, the 76ers.
Oh, Embiid. Embiid is killing
Oh, they
it.
got Joel Embiid. Yeah, so
Oh,
Joel Embiid um, is yeah, he's like he's a power forward, but he's a big power forward that plays center.
he plays center, but he has the skill to kind of, shoot the three. He can step out, which I don't think.
Yeah,
I
but
think he should be in the post more.
they went
But
from Drummond and Embiid, which is like, you know what I mean? You're not getting in there, but in one way, it takes that away from them, like the big man, two twin towers in the middle, right? But now
right,
with Drummond gone, bringing in Harden, that speeds the game up. You know what I'm saying? So now they're a little bit more, they're a faster paced team, a little bit smaller, right? Because you got a big power forward that can play center with the best of them. I think they did pretty good. It depends on how they utilize the talent that they had now acquired. I still
yeah,
think the Nets are still gonna. I mean, they kept their two big ones, right? Not that Harden wasn't, right? Because that was a crazy three when they originally traded for him originally. But
yeah.
to give him up and to get someone like Drummond, you know what I'm saying, and moving forward, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's gonna be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think the pick and roll with Embiid and Harden is going to be that's going to be tough to stop because Embiid
Yeah,
is not a guy that just dives into the lane, but he can actually stay up top if you double
yeah,
Harden, and Embiid can shoot that three.
right.
I think they're going to be I think they're going to be a good tandem together, but I still think the Nets probably made out on this trade just
Yeah,
because the defense and the rebounding from Simmons and Drummond, I think, is huge.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
look at Simmons. I'm not saying he's the same style of player as Harden, but he could bring the same type of flashy cut, run without the ball, control the
yeah,
ball as well. He can do all those things, but then you add Drummond to it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if you're focusing your attention on KD, you know what I mean? And then now you got Simmons running around. Like it's
yeah. And you have Joe Harris, he's injured, but that dude can
yeah,
shoot. So you got Joe Harris, and now you got Seth Curry who can shoot. I think that's exactly what they needed. They needed some shooters. So that way it opens up the lane for KD to attack and also
yeah,
for Kyrie to attack. So we'll
I,
see. But let me ask you a quick question, Gio.
yeah.
On the East, who do you think is the top five teams in the East right now? Top of your
Oof.
head. Or
It's
maybe
gonna be
top three.
the Nets.
Okay.
I think the Nets for sure. And I'm trying to keep. I'm a little outdated on some of the basketball stuff because when the playoffs hits in football, I kind of transition over.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Um,
just asking just so I can show you something. So you saying Nets possibly.
yeah, the Nets. Who else am I thinking?
Because you got Bucks, Bulls, Boston, Atlanta.
Boston made a
Uh,
trade too, right? So
very good trade.
Bol, right? They got rid of Bol, right?
So they uh who did they got White from the Spurs,
Yeah. Hmm.
and they also got rid of Schroeder. So they got Daniel Tice back, and they also got White from the Spurs. Those are good
Yeah.
two solid players. And Tice used to play for Boston a year ago. I think he played with us for 3 years. So fans was asking for him to come back anyways.
Yeah. Um, I would say I think the were always very exciting with the talent that they got there. So the
Yep.
Bulls I think are pretty good. And I would say with Harden going over there, even though we haven't seen it, like they're going to be a contender, I think. And
Okay.
I don't know about Boston. I probably put Boston.
Look at
Where
this
we at?
chart.
Bulls, okay, Bulls, and then Bucks. Yeah, was the next one, I guess.
Nets, Boston.
I thought about the Heat too. I mean, but like 2 years ago they were great. Last year they fell off quite a bit.
Yeah, but look at the Cavaliers. Nobody's talking
Nobody's
about the
talking
Cavs.
about them.
Nobody
Yeah,
even cares about the Cavaliers.
yeah, yeah.
I follow basketball a little bit more probably than you, maybe. This was shocking to me,
So they
right?
won four in a row, right?
Yeah. But then again, 2 games can switch everything. Two,
Yeah,
two,
you
two,
you
two
can see that.
games.
Yeah,
But so I think the Nets is going to benefit from the trade, and I
who are
know
not on this list, by the way. Just
exactly. Uh, Neither is Boston, so they needed to make some sort of a trade, some sort of change.
right.
Durant says, "I think Sixers won it." Sixers are right there, bro. I think they are going to be a better team, but I still think overall Nets. I'm not going to compare the Nets to the 76ers, but Nets as a team, I think got better. I think they got better, and like I
Yeah,
said, these are like 4 games apart. It can
yeah. I
change
think
just like
I,
that.
I think I would you could look at it different in two different ways. You could look at it from what team got better from that trade, and then as far as the personnel swap, who had the upper hand, over the other. And I think for the Sixers, giving up what's his name, the big man,
Drummond.
Giving up Drummond and picking up Harden is a obviously there are other players that are mixed in that trade as well, but just going off of like those two, like that's definitely a step up for them, right? You just picking
Yeah,
up Harden is great. Which Harden you're gonna get? It depends, you know. But
yeah,
I just think that overall, from what you already have to what you just added, I think the Nets completed themselves. You know what I mean?
okay,
They got a they got a good five with some good backups coming in. Whereas the 76ers, there's still maybe a piece or two, maybe one more piece to really get there. That's
yeah.
you know what I mean? So I
Let me
see
put
that's what Durant's probably saying is like they won because they gave up the big man and got a superstar all-star player like Harden.
true. I will say this: the Bucks did make a trade as well. The Bucks ended up getting uh, Ibaka,
Yep.
which I think he's still got a little bit in him, and I think Lopez is still injured with the back injury, so they don't know when Lopez is going to come back. So I think picking up Ibaka is so underrated. Let me ask you a question: who do you think is going to finish at the top in the East? Do you think?
I think it's going to be the Nets. I think that's what I bet you if you're
Yeah,
asking, the folks that actually cover the NBA like that, they're probably going to say the Nets too. And I just think
yeah,
it, I think this year will be the year that they get it all together. They're not going to have all those issues. I think they got the right amount of chemistry with the type of players that they got, and they're going to bring even more toughness in the big man position. So I think they're going to get it together by the time the 82nd or so game comes around. They're gonna fix it, and they're gonna be on top.
yeah. I think the Bucks going to finish top, man. I think that Ibaka trade is pretty
Yeah.
good, man. I think they're gonna end up top. Let me ask you a question. Since we're talking about basketball, uh, I saw Gilbert Arenas talking about All Star, and I wanted to ask you: having All Star as part of your resume nowadays with social media, do you think that's a big deal having All Star under your name? And the reason I asked that, and I'll tell you why, because Gilbert Arenas was having an interview, and he didn't know that 50% of the vote comes from fans,
Yeah.
25 comes from players, the other 25 comes from the media.
Yeah. The critics and all those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So and he made a good point. Like when it comes to like the media, I think it's just get rid of that, because if you're a player and I try to interview you and you didn't give me a good interview, like Skip Bayless is never going to vote for LeBron, no matter how you slice it. Skip Bayless is not going to vote for LeBron to be an All Star, right? Because he just does not like the guy, and he's part of the media, right?
Okay.
So my question to you is, and also I will say this: a couple years ago, Zaza was averaging 2 points a game, almost made the All Star based on people voting for him.
Hmm.
Also, Yao Ming made it to an All Star one year because where he comes from, there's a lot of people and a lot of people
Right.
voted. He
Hmm.
got in. And nowadays with social media, if you're popular, you're getting voted. You're getting voted. So does it matter having an all-star under your name as part of your legacy? Or do you think it's still something?
Um, so I'll start, I guess, with answering how it's broken up, right? By the players, the fans, and the media, right?
Yeah.
So you pointed out and you said the media can be, they can take things personal and they can have their favorites. One, I believe that the people in the media, that's their job, right? Do they have their feelings in it? Absolutely, right? So, but I think at the end of the day, they're looking at the stats, they're doing the work, they're looking at the data and all that stuff. You know who's not doing that? The fans. The fans ain't doing nothing, none of that. And like you said, the
But
China
yeah,
reference that you gave in regards to Yao Ming, like that's going to have a lot of weight, right? And there's a lot of weight from that
right.
because the fans pay the bills, right? So you want to raise the players to the status that the fans are going to like it. But so that's a positive, right? Because the fans are the ones that drive the money, drive the
But
entertainment.
is the all-star for the fans? Because to me, it's for the fans. This is why they don't care who wins. This is why they're doing all these crazies. It's to put on a show. It's for the fans. That's what I'm saying.
I,
Like to me, the All Star shouldn't even matter anymore
I,
because
I mean, it. I
look,
personally think that it's for everyone, probably primarily for the fans, right? But as players, they play for money, they play for fame, they play for self-respect, notoriety, and all that other stuff. So just like in the NFL, when they pick the top 100, it comes from the players, so it means something to them, right? So when the players have to have a vote in it, right? So that 25% or whatever that comes from the players matters,
you
right?
think players care
I think some do.
some, but I don't. Majority of them, I don't see it because I don't see LeBron sitting there going, "Man, wow, Tatum, he is killing it right now," or he's just like, "Yo, Tatum's my guy," boom, vote him. Uh, like Durant just said, Wiggins got voted in because of K-pop or some like
Mhm.
all of these fans just started voting for him, and he's in. Wiggins,
Yeah, I mean, as far as
Wiggins,
giving weight to what category and how much weight you give to each of the three categories that we discussed, I mean,
yeah,
that can potentially be adjusted with social media and then the way people can adjust the votes. And when you see the votes, someone like you said, someone with a 2 point average, someone coming off the bench, almost making it to the All Star, then you got to adjust what's going on, right? Maybe you take
yeah.
some of the percentage away from the people because they're gaming the system, so to speak, and they're flooding, whatever is hashtag trending. You know what
You
I'm
can't
saying?
can't compete with
So
that.
all you do is you give them less. You give them less
Yeah,
weight. That's the only thing I can think of is you give more weight to the media and personnel and the players. And I disagree with you. I think the players, there's a certain amount. There are some players that don't care about that. But if they're asked, like they're like, hey, vote your top 3 point guards. They know they have the most experience to be like, man, when I play against XYZ player, like that guy is hard to play against. I don't sleep that night, right? So the fans aren't playing him; they're just watching, you know, objectively. And then the media, they're watching with a little bit more experience than your normal fan. But the
yeah,
players, they're the ones that are on the court. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Even when it comes to the media, I don't think they're watching every game either. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
they're
some of
so
them are.
busy. Their job is usually to focus on their home team. Like, they're so caught up and focused with their home team, they're not really looking at Boston to see what Brown is doing because he didn't even make the All Star. You kidding me? Brown was killing it,
Yeah,
but
it's just there's too many games for them to watch all the games. But I'm sure there are, like I said, like the way I see things, everything's in a spectrum. There's going to be that one guy or girl that's a media personality that like watches. That's all they do. Like all they do is watch and analyze and take notes, and they have
right,
a team that does it. And that's some of these people. It's not just one guy. It's like they're breaking down, all the data from all the games, and they're watching as much of it as possible. Because if they could bring the most content and have the most information, then they're gonna get the leg up on their competition, which is the other media, station or whatever. So, they're doing their thing. But are there some that do more than others? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, if the fans got that much vote, I think this is for the fans, really. So then make it for the fans. If anything,
So just have the fans just vote, is what you're saying?
you might as well, because everybody's just like, yo, man, just if you're with the Kardashian, they can get you in simply because they're
But
following. They'll get you in.
but now you're making a mockery of the all-star system.
Well, then that's why I was gonna say is make it for the coaches and the players, because they're the one that compete against each other. They know. I said might as well just make it where the players do that. So therefore, it is that important.
Mhm.
Like, oh, these are the guys I play against. They
Yeah,
voted for me.
but now
Coaches,
you're cutting out the money man, right? The people who make
people's
this
gonna
game
watch.
important. I know
People's
they
gonna
will.
watch.
I know they
They're
will.
gonna
But if
watch.
you give them a little bit of like say where they can kind of like I'm a big if I'm a big Porzingis fan, right? And that's who I want to vote. Then let me vote. And if there's enough people who believe that, they can do it, and then he can potentially rise up. It gives him something to work hard for, right? If he's one of those players that cares about being an all-star, right? Because with all-star comes what? The money. You get paid. So maybe you
Right.
don't care. They don't care about the status, but they definitely care about the check because everyone to some degree cares about the check. Unless you're
Yeah.
Tom Brady taking discounts and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny, and I hate. I Let me not say hate. I dislike doing this, but we're gonna pivot right into it. You mentioned it, like Jesus. That word, I'm
I'm gonna
telling you, man.
find you
That
every time. I'm gonna find a way to find you every time you use that word
what? Every time I
for
say it,
Brandon's sake.
I'll put $1 in a cup or something for every time I say it, or every time one of us say it.
I won't say it.
But
I
Tom
I
Brady,
don't think
man,
I'll say it. Yeah, good old
the
Tommy,
the goat has retired, man.
Thomas
He's
Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Jesus
Goat.
Christ, goat.
Yeah.
He has retired. Called it quits after 20
Did he
20
though?
years,
Did he?
man.
Did he?
I don't
Did he?
know, man.
Did he?
For now, Tom Brady has retired for now.
So
That's
so
all I'll say.
this is something that I'll say about this, right? So it seems as though the news of him retiring came out before he really wanted it to. Because remember, it was like, oh, this
Yeah,
hearsay that he might retire. That's messed up. Like I think I've watched some talk shows that were talking about like that's messed up. Like the man at least deserves to be able to retire on his own terms when he wants to say it. Take a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl's over and do it.
yeah,
For somebody within his circle to leak that like he's thinking of retiring is messed up. And I think it forced his hand to put out that Twitter message or Instagram message or wherever he sent it on that he's retired before he's really truly had a chance. Because think about it, when someone's doing that for so long, it's easy to be like, yeah, I'm done right after a big playoff loss, right? NFC Championship. But then you
yeah,
take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, then you might start thinking twice when that's all he's been doing. And he played great. It's not like he went out like Roethlisberger, right? He was in the MVP conversation. So I think they may have forced his hand to that. I think if you ask me, I think he should retire. Like from a fan's perspective, I don't want to see it like a Jerry Rice or a Joe Montana or you name those super mega stars that went to a different team. Like either like I just don't want that to happen for him. But if he was to do it, stay with the Bucks. Don't go to like the Colts and start all over again and
yeah,
then you don't know what it's like. You're learning the system again, or they gotta switch their system for Tom, right? And then it'd be a disaster. Like, is it gonna hurt his legacy? No, but we don't want to see that.
yeah. I would hate to see him just go out on a like, or some injury, or a
Yeah,
team that goes
right.
3-10, or like just bad.
And then he's 46. He wants to do it one more year, and he's out there
Yeah.
carting him out there.
The funny thing is, they only lost by a field goal in overtime, so it's not like
They were in
they
it,
got
man.
killed. Yeah.
Yeah, they were in it. So
So the question
um,
is Tom Brady the GOAT of football?
100%. Like
Okay.
there's no debate. Like He's got more championships than 2/3 of the teams, not combined, but like outside of Dallas, Steelers, Raiders, Patriots, maybe one of the Green Bay Packers. Like those are teams with 4 or more rings.
But
The
I
other
do,
28 don't have. They have one.
yeah, I
Two.
do understand. I think we'll talk about I Am Athlete again. When Adrian Foster said his favorite was um he said the best football player was Barry Sanders to him. And I understood his argument because think you have to get lucky. That's just how things are. You get lucky. All right.
Yes.
Even Tom Brady.
Yeah. If he didn't go
And
to New England, would he be Tom Brady? Like not this kind, not at this level. I don't think.
well, we'll never know. But
We'll never know.
I know there's some things that went his way, right?
Absolutely. Well,
Uh,
every the
the
social media.
Raiders game,
Yeah, Tuck
right?
Rule.
Right.
You name it. There's a whole bunch of Deflate Gate, the miraculous 28-3. Like it's. But
Yeah,
hey,
it happened.
luck happens. It goes both ways, right? But I'm not saying that he's not. He's a better football player than all the others, right? Because that's insane, right?
Yeah,
We know his physical capabilities as far as outside of the shoulder to the elbow to the hand and throwing the ball and the brain connection with that, right? But we're talking
yeah,
about Barry Sanders was insane, right? Lawrence Taylor was insane, right?
right.
There's players that were out there. You're just like, it's just going to be. They are the physical embodiment of like a human specimen doing what it was built to do and doing it successful at a high level. But his thing is being able to do it in his clutch moments, doing it as long as he's been able to do it, and being as successful for as long as he's been able to do it. That's kind of what makes him the GOAT. Because
Yeah,
of that, he's got the most opportunities and he's taken advantage and got lucky in those opportunities. But like it's luck. It's a stew of luck, skill, all that stuff combined.
yeah. And for me, I say he is the GOAT, and I'll tell you why. Even though we're talking about football, I'm gonna try to put it in a basketball terms, if that makes sense. But
Mm-hmm.
it's the way I see it. So, like when you hear the Michael Jordan argument, who's the best? People say Michael Jordan, the 6 rings. If it's really about that, then you don't count Bill Russell out, right?
Absolutely.
And to me, I love LeBron James, right? Because I watched him play from 17 years old to now. I'm like, it blows my mind what he has accomplished. And I watched it.
And he's still doing it for what, 19 plus years?
He's 36 years old, still killing it, right?
Yeah.
So to me, Tom Brady's the same. I actually watched, which is the eye test for me. I watched
Mm-hmm.
him, not even just watch him play football, but I'm from New England. I
Mm-hmm.
watch all his games every
Right.
Sunday. So for me, the eye test is huge. And I think that's why a lot of people, let's say age 40 to 50, always go, MJ is the best. I watched
Right.
MJ play. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So there's something to that. Like you said, it's crazy when you think about Lawrence Taylor and you go, man, that man was a beast. But I will say, I didn't watch him play. I guarantee if I watched him play and go, whoa, did you just see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the stats, but if you watch
Yeah.
some of the things he does, how smart he is, I think that adds a little bit to
No,
uh,
absolutely, absolutely.
who you think is the
He was a
man.
problem, right?
Yeah,
He's a problem. And then again, when you're looking at stats, he has crazy stats, despite the fact that he doesn't touch the ball. He's double teamed, triple teamed, right? Like he has to overcome that. The quarterback just has to perform. He starts with the ball in his hand,
right.
right? It's in his destiny is all in his hands and how he does it. Obviously, he has to rely on receivers to catch the ball, like Edelman catching between his legs and all this crazy stuff, right? But there's difference every time someone wants to compare a defensive player to an offensive player. But yeah, is that it right there? Yeah, Edelman was great, right? But here's just to switch it up just a little bit, right, and not use that word that it's so popular these days. Same topic, but I've noticed as a Pats fan when I'm watching this new Pats, this Mac Jones Pats,
Mhm.
it's really different. right? Was watch the Patriots with Tom Brady in it, win or lose, up or down, I'm always like, they're gonna figure it out. Like
Yeah.
I was a little nervous, but I'm like, they're gonna figure it out. And then 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, they figure it out and they win. I'm like, wow, that was a great game. We were down and we won. Now I feel what just
Other
to what other people. I was gonna say like the Jets or the Lions, but that's way too far, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
way too. They don't even know what it's like to win. They're like, oh yeah, we're
That's
gonna
a
watch the game.
that's a brown bag over your head
Yeah,
sad. Like,
but
yeah.
it's almost like it's twofold for me. One, when I watch it, I'm more nervous. Whether we're
Mhm.
up or we're down, I'm almost like it's almost revitalized. And I know it's kind of messed up for non-Patriots fans to understand. And they're just like, look at you with your 900 championship. Now you're worried and like it. And it's like when they're winning so much, so used to them winning so much, it's just like, yeah, they won another one, another chip, right? Got it. But now it's just like there's a reason to watch because you don't know if they're gonna win. Before I always like, oh, they're gonna win. They're gonna figure it out. So that's the
Right.
one. And then the other one, so that's the two. It's like being nervous watching it, but then I like being nervous watching it because you
You're
know,
invested more.
yeah,
But yeah, I feel the same way because I've watched Matt Jones this year. I'm like, "Ugh, come on, and with Brady, you're right though, because it's like you're sort of nervous, but when he does it, you're like, yeah, I expected that.
yeah,
That's what I thought was going to happen. I
absolutely.
knew the outcome was going to be a win.
20 years. 20 years of him. Some people that are adults right now haven't been around long enough for what he's been doing in the NFL. It's crazy.
44 years old, man. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't think we've probably seen the last of Tom Brady, if you ask me. I think
Don't
you
do it,
never
Tom.
know, man.
Tom, don't do it.
You
Just
never know, man.
just
All right,
just go.
well,
Just go.
let's go right into the Super Bowl, man.
Oh, damn.
I'm ready. I can't
You ready?
wait. I actually have 40-piece chicken wings defrosted right
Already. It's
now.
already.
Yeah, it's defrosted. I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
marinate it.
it's Friday. Yeah, yeah, got you.
Yeah, you got to let it marinate, and then Sunday, man, I can't wait. Um, but who is going to win this game, and who do you think is going to be the MVP of this game, man?
Ooh.
I mean, I can go if
Yeah, yeah, go ahead cuz I have statistic reason or an answer and I have like a personal answer. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, just based on what the Rams upgraded at all the positions, defensive side, and also the quarterback, I think, and also OBJ as well. Just added him last couple of games, and it's funny that Cleveland couldn't get the man the ball, and he's been here for 7 games.
Whose
He's in the
fault's
Super
that?
Bowl. I mean that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and somehow, some reason, he's got 6 touchdowns already and you couldn't get him the ball? A bubble screen? Uh, I don't know. Hand it off to him like something. You could have get this man the ball.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just think the Rams defense is. I think the Rams defense is going to get to cool Joe Burrow. Um, he's a good young quarterback, man, and I like his style, man. I like his confidence. I like all that, man. He's got a nice running game. He's got good receivers, and I think the tight end, who's actually pretty good, he's going to be out. Um, I think Chase is a monster, but I think he's going to get double teamed. He's going to get double teamed. I don't know if they have enough to score a lot of points. Um, just that defense of the Rams scares me because I think players want 99 to win one, man. And I think he is a monster. I know sometimes you don't see it, uh, but he disrupts just just enough to throw the timing off. And a lot of people sometimes don't see that because they'll look at a stat and go, "This dude only had 1 sack," but they don't look at all the disruption, the double teams, sometimes triple, um, and that's taking players away. So I think number 99 is going to create a havoc in the backfield, simply because the Bengals, actually, Joe Burrow is the most sacked quarterback this year and last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that. And then the game before, what was it? I don't know if it was the Oakland game. He had like 9. They sacked him 9 times.
The Titans game.
The Titans,
Mm-hmm.
even though he can scramble, get out of the pocket, but he still gets sacked. I
Right.
just think the Rams will have enough to control him and keep him off balance. Where I think the defense is going to prevail. Uh, I'm going to say, man, Cooper Kupp is going to get the MVP. Cooper Kupp is a good player, man. I know he's a little guy. People try to say, he's a slot guy, but he led
He's a
in
really good,
every category for the wide
great,
receivers. He led.
borderline great player. I mean, he's been really good for a
Yeah.
long time, but this year he broke like everything. Just they put him with the right quarterback.
Yeah. And like I said, every position that they made a trade for was an upgrade. And, on the defense side of the ball, even adding Von Miller, OBJ, and Stafford. Yeah, I just think that defense is gonna get on Bengals. So I don't know. What do you think?
Look, I know I said personal and stats, but it's really the same thing. Like you mentioned it when they played the Titans sacked Joe Burrow 9 times, right? And that and not saying like the Titans have a pretty good, they got a good right end, right? They got a strong defensive tackle, but they don't have what the Rams have, right?
No,
The
man.
Rams are going to, I don't want to say, like they're going to cause problems. You remember last Super Bowl when Patrick Mahomes was running for his life?
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Like you're going to put that defense with Floyd and Von Miller and Aaron Donald and the other guys that they got there.
Ramsey.
If if they don't sack them at least 9 times, like I'd be surprised because there's no way you're stopping them, right? So even though the Bengals have great receivers and a great running back, they can have Jesus Christ himself lining up and wide out. And he could be floating wide open. If he doesn't have time to throw that ball, it's a wrap. Like it
But but that's
I
all it
don't
takes is the timing. Just it doesn't have to be a sack. Just the
that's
timing.
and even if they are, right? Say they are, the Bengals are able to hold the defense. There he is, he's chasing him, right? I got distracted from the footage. Um, um, yeah, even if the defense doesn't get to him a lot, guess what? The Rams, they got firepower. Cup,
Mhm.
Beckham, like all them cats that they got a lot of firepower on their team, right? But here's the thing. If the Rams get the ball first or get the lead in the beginning, it's a wrap. I'm going to tell you that right now.
If they score,
Because if they score or they're up 10-0 or something like that, when Burrow now has to be, throwing the ball more often, it's a wrap. Because that means the dogs, the ones we've mentioned, Floyd and Von Miller and Donald, they're going to pin their ears back and they're going to get after. They're going to be like, go get him. Go get him.
Mhm.
We'll play zero coverage and you just go get him. And they're going to shut him down, right? If the Bengals, if the Rams come out like they have a little flat a few times, it might be a fight. We might see a good game, right?
Yeah.
And then I think they'll have a chance then, right? They take the lead, they give it to Joe Mixon, they run the ball a little bit more, and then they start confusing him with a little bit of play action, a little bit of throwing here and there. That's how the Bengals will have a good chance, right? Keeping them off their balance.
Yeah.
But
And
to
like
answer the question, the Rams definitely will win. Um,
and
just
like you and like you said too, if they get the ball and they score first, essentially they're home. So
yeah, I know, right? The second year in a row, right? Like,
so that's another thing to it, man. They're home, and if they score first, that play's gonna get crazy. Um, I don't think it's gonna get to Joe Burrow too much. I think he's a cool dude, man. Like I said, I
no,
think he's a good player, but Donald is just a different beast, man. He's just different, man. So
No,
Um,
I don't want to take away from Burrow because, like I said, the dude's cool as hell. They call him Joe
yeah,
Burr because he got ice in the veins, right? Like I
yeah,
think he's great. Their receivers, they got great young receivers, right? And I mentioned Joe Mixon, but that O line, you can't get to the Super Bowl. I'm surprised they got past the Titans, right? And I'm shocked that they got past the Chiefs, right?
yeah.
But the Chiefs didn't like to run the ball, man. That's if they had a better run game, then they'd be all right. Um,
Are we
but I
sleeping
think
on them?
on who?
Bengals?
I I think there's a chance, like I said, if it starts off with if the Rams sputter in the beginning and don't like say they get the ball, they get stopped. And then the
Yeah,
Rams get the ball. I mean the Bengals get the ball and they score and they stop them or whatever the case is. If they're in the lead, even if it's like a touchdown or a little bit, if they've got the lead, they'll have a chance. But if the Rams come out and they're not cool and calm, which they have the potential to be, I don't see it. It can get ugly fast. I'll tell you
For-
that. Like
yeah.
it could be halftime and we're just like eating wings, not watching the game. That's a possibility. But
Who's
I'm
your
hoping for a good
potential
game.
MVP?
Um, if it turns out to be like that, if it's a shootout, it's going to be Stafford. Probably Stafford, even though I think Cup's going to have a great game. It'll be
Yeah,
Stafford. If it's a blowout, I would like to see Aaron Donald not only get a chip, because I'm telling you right now, to add this piece, the last game when they played San Fran and then Aaron Donald, they were like, oh, Aaron Donald's talking to the defense. And he's like, I need this. I want this. Like
yeah.
riling them up. When a dude like that gets riled up,
He was
it
pointing to it. He's like, I need it. He was pointing to
that's
his finger.
like he doesn't need it for Hall of Fame, but he needs it for his own
No.
personal You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's a tight game, he's saving that speech for when he needs it. He's going to give them, I think he's going to give them initially that juice in the beginning. This is if I was Aaron Donald, if you're listening, which you're not, but I get it, whatever. Maybe, you never know. You start the first, beginning, first quarter, right before you snap, first time before you go out on defense, you tell them, hey, come out here with your heads right. We practiced. We did our thing. I've been here. I've been to the Super Bowl and I lost, right? So I'm
Hmm.
listening to these words that I'm telling you. Keep your head on straight. Do what we practice and get your stuff together. He's going to get them rallied up, but focused, right? Not to do too much, just to
Yep.
not make mistakes in the beginning. And then somewhere along the game, if it gets tough, he's going to be like, this is when he's going to hit him with that personal speech. Like, I need this. I want this. Do this for me, right? And I'll take you to the championship or the promised land. And then that's when you're going to see like 12 sacks.
You're crazy.
I'm just saying. At least that's how I
Yo,
see it playing out in my head. You know what I mean?
Aaron Donald's like the biggest small dude I've ever seen too. It's like
I know,
it's like
but
he's
he's massive.
huge, but he's
He just
like,
doesn't look big until he
yeah, man.
stands
He's like
next to you.
he's tiny but big.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
It's so
Yeah,
weird. Even without the pads, I'm like, you could tell
yeah.
he's a big dude, but
You look at
he's
Miles Garrett, and you're like, God, dang,
oh
that's a
no,
big man,
yeah,
right? But but I bet you if they stand close together, he's just built. He's got that little neck, like it's kind of, but he's huge. He's
it's
so big, he's
huge.
small. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly, man. It's weird. What if okay, let me just throw this out there. What if Odell Beckham, Mr. Beckham gets an MVP? Wouldn't that be nuts though, man?
That'd be good. That'd
That
be
would
nice.
be crazy, man. Especially the way they dog this dude, man. Like, oh, Cleveland's not good because of him. I've always said Cleveland's not good because their quarterback. He's a
Here,
terrible decision maker.
this is the thing. Not to, I won't get too much on a rant with this, but that's a good point that you brought up, right? There's in stories and books and like for the movie buffs and people who are into like movie writing and stuff like that, there's a natural arc that's in pretty much every movie that you watch, right? You've got the protagonist, right? That's the guy, that's the hero in the movie, right? He
Yep.
starts off on a journey, he goes out on a journey, and then there's a falling out or a failure and a loss. You go through a sad period, and then there's that buildup when he goes against the final boss, and then he wins and he goes off into the sunset. That's your typical arc of a story, right? And
Mm.
for y'all movie people, don't assassinate me for that, but like that's the gist, right? I'm giving you the wave tops. Odell Beckham has that story, right? He
Yeah.
came out, he was great, did that one hand catch, and then he went with a bunch of dudes on a boat, and then they lost the championship, and then
Don't
he
say
had
it
three.
like that,
Then he
man.
got then he.
Why you have to throw the dudes on the boat? That has nothing to do with his
Well, it's
play.
part of the journey, right?
I
They were on
guess.
top. Listen, they were on top of the world. They did it from the looks of it. They weren't practicing. They were partying on a boat. A bunch of dudes. I didn't see one chicken. I don't know. Maybe it's been a while. I don't know. So, and then he got hurt, and then he got traded, and then
Right.
he was disgruntled, and they weren't treating him right, and it was all his fault. Blah blah blah. So bad, bad, bad. His arc went down, right? And then he gets traded, got new life, doing great, and they're like, see, but now he's had this personal growth, hopefully, right? Hopefully, and that he learned from that, and then he can come back and be, that veteran player in the locker room that could teach these young guys. Yeah, go out there, get your shine, but
Mhm.
do it the right way. And these are mistakes that I made that I'm teaching you to do better. And he could give that lesson to young players, right? But that's what
Right.
we like to see. We like to see that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like to see him get it though, man. Just to be like, hey, Cleveland, man, y'all missed out on this one, man. I
Yeah,
really think when it comes to Cleveland, I think the quarterback, he's a decent quarterback, but I think his decision making is not that good, man. Because like when you look at Tom Brady, I think to me Tom Brady's strongest, the best thing about Tom Brady is his decision making. It's not his
yes.
arm, it's his decision making. And when I look at, I can't even remember his name
Baker
now, but
Mayfield.
yeah, he kills the commercial.
Oh yeah, that's great. That was
He's
great.
hilarious in the
He's an
commercials.
MVP. MVP.
Oh yeah,
Great.
hands down, probably the best.
It's
But
that's awesome.
that decision making, though, man, I don't know, man. I don't believe in that guy. I think he probably
Yeah,
gets traded.
I mean, I think for him, he's a very emotional type player, right?
Y-
Emotional players, that's good on defense, and this is my opinion, right? You got an emotional player on defense. When Aaron Donald talks to you and be like, "I need this, I want this," you're gonna hit a wall, right? You're gonna go through it.
You
But
just
when you
go.
get, yeah, as an offensive player, you're a little bit more cerebral. Not that defense
Yeah,
isn't. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, as a quarterback, you can't be like first guy that looks open, throw the ball because he looks open, right? Oh, you
right.
feel like the pocket's breaking out. I got to run out. You got to be like, all right, I trust that my guys are going to do it. If I step 3 inches to the right, if I give that guy 3 seconds to come across the middle, he'll open
Hmm.
up and I'll hit it up. That's a lot of thinking, while a lot of craziness is going on. So I think
Yep.
part of his problem is he's he's a little too emotional,
Yep.
emotionally like riled up. That goes for good and bad. Those players that have to like quit social media like he did because
Yeah.
people get in his head. He gets emotional. He takes it personal, and it affects his game on Sunday. Tom Brady never cared about that.
Oh no, he used it the other way. He
Right.
used it as a
Right. That Mamba
motivation.
mentality is like, oh, wait till Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you. Right. Oh, I'm a clown. I'm a scrub. I'm gonna show you
Yeah.
on Sunday. They hold
Oh,
it and they feed off of it. He
yeah.
doesn't do that.
Yeah. Those guys like Brady and Kobe, that doesn't take them off their game. It just intensify their
Yeah,
game time. It makes them better.
absolutely.
But yeah, I call him man Mayflower, but like I don't know.
Yeah, the emotional players, the same thing that makes you great will make you break, man. It's just situational. You got to be
Mm.
able to balance it out. And I think that's his
Well,
problem.
okay. So let me ask you a personal question then, Gio. What
Same.
motivates you then? Since we're talking about motivation, how you take, what motivates you to, just for whatever it is?
Um, I think me, it's I'm pretty simple, right? Like I'm not a guy that wants fame, fortune, all that stuff. I want to be sufficient, right? Like we talked about, my retirement situation. I could make a lot of money, right? I've got the experience and I can use my military training and all this other stuff that I've learned to get a really great job. But
Mhm.
what I would do is I would settle for less money for something that gives me more um, pride, fulfillment, stuff like that, right? So I don't need a lot. And I think as long as I have purpose, and I'm able to help people, and give insight to people that want, the golden nuggets, as I said in the last episode, I got a lot of golden nuggets. If you want that, I can give that to people. So that's my drive, is as long as I got purpose, because military is
Mhm.
all about mission and getting the job done and having pride in the work that you do.
Right.
That's really it for me. What about you?
For me, it's a lot of things. Um, and I think the answer you normally hear is like, your family, right? Uh, but honestly, me, it's like anything that anytime I'm stuck or anytime uh, I need some sort of pet talk or, all I have to do is just think about my mom. That just does it for me. I don't have to talk to her. Just thinking about it, where she came from, what she's been through, and where she is now. To me, that's just enough to keep me motivated, and everything else falls in place. Um, yeah, man. Like, it's because I don't want to get too personal, and the only reason I ask you this is because we're talking about using, the social media like Brady to motivate yourself. But yeah, for me, it's simple, man. Just one thought of my mom, I'm good to go. It don't matter what it is. I remember when I was in junior high, man. I was like, damn, I just played football. I'm tired, and I had a big soccer game, and I'm just like, oh my god, bro, my mom. That was the only game my mom ever watched me play. Man, I got up so fast. I was like, my mother never showed up to any game. And I seen her, dude. I scored 7 goals that day. I had a player that played for the New England Revolution professional team who was actually watching. And he came up to me, he said, hey man, I was told to come watch you play. And I'm like, but you're Jair. He goes, yeah, I know, I'm Jair. I was like, but you play for Revolution. He goes, yeah. Somebody told me to come watch you play. And that was the day my mom was there. Like, that's all I need, man. Mom is motivation for me, man. And
Yeah,
that
that's not.
goes to you know, like you said, just like giving nuggets. I'm kind of the same way too. But that all comes from just being motivated by moms and how she is, and I take some of that trait as well, being helpful, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
will do
mean,
it for me.
no, that's awesome stuff, right? Like, and I think a lot of people are like that, and it goes to show, like, you were tired, and it took whatever that motivation was. In your case, it was your mom showing up that you just,
Mhm.
it's like that Aaron Donald pep talk. You ran through a wall, right? In this case, you just went all out, and people
Yeah,
they weren't playing with the same energy and motivation as you were, right? And that's what Tom Brady did, right? So, but I think we both mentioned the same thing about like kind of giving back, and I think it's part of folks our age, right? When you're like 20, it's kind of about you and your experience and your growth and your learning stuff, right?
hmm
And be figuring out who you are, right? Because the first 20 years, you're trying to figure out who you are within the world, within your family household, and you're constricted from, you got your bedtime, you got when you got to be home, and you got to do this, you got to do your chores. You're not really free to fully embrace who you are and grow and learn, right? So then when
hmm
you become an adult, that's usually around like 20, when you're finally out the house, right? And you have your own house and you're doing your own thing. Now you're making your own decisions. You make your own curfew. You do all these things, and you spend the next 18 or so years um, exploring those things, learning about who you are, right? And then once you get to like that next stage, and your kids are like our kids' age, right? Um, you start to transition a little bit more of like, those of us who just want to help other people and say, hey, when I was 20, I didn't have this advice, right? So now that I'm at this stage, I can help someone at the age of 20 not make
right.
the same mistakes and get a head start on whatever advice, because things that we had wrapping through our brains, who are you going to ask? You're going to ask the other 20-year-old, the other 22-year-old. We may not have had somebody older like regularly available to give you that info, right? We didn't
Right.
have social media to have these conversations to go, where do I find out about XYZ, right?
hmm
We didn't have YouTube to teach us how to tie a tie. Like, you had to go ask somebody. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, now you just go right there and it's on there. But that's what I'm saying is like we're at the age where we do want to give back. We do want to help other people. And that's kind of just where I'm at. And I think that's what's gonna, give me the most fulfillment for myself and what I'm doing moving forward.
Yeah, I think as you said that, I start to think about all the times, probably I chilled and crazy stuff we probably experienced together. And I always say, man, we're lucky. And and I think, and like you said, you're trying to find yourself at that age. I think we're still lucky to have a voice here, a voice here. It wasn't like we didn't have that voice. Oh, we certainly did. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can. I'll share this. I'll share. I really don't care. I remember one time you and I, we went to my house. We went to East. I played in the basketball tournament, right? I don't know if you remember that. Then from after the basketball tournament, we went to your house. After your house, we went to my house. Soon as my mother opened the door, pow! Where have you been? You know?
Hmm.
Uh, but like I said, I think about like as you was, talking, I was thinking about I was like, at the same time, we're lucky though, because we did have some voices,
Right.
whether you choose to listen, but we did have voices there. You know, I think there's people that don't have that at all, and
Absolutely.
they can get
Absolutely.
lost quickly.
Hmm.
And if they do wrong, sometimes they don't know they're doing wrong, or they don't know how they're affecting somebody else or themselves. So we're lucky to have some voices, man, big brothers, and I think just hanging around the people that you love and trust helps as well. Because I think, you, myself, a couple of people that we used to hang out with, man, I think we're lucky and fortunate to have each other. Um, Even though if we didn't give each other like some sort of opinion on this, on that, but just being around each other
Yeah, absolutely.
sometimes just good enough to say, you know what, let me chill here because these guys, they're this type of people, and I know they're not gonna be doing anything crazy, put me in harm's way. Um, and so I think we're lucky to have that circle of friends, and when we're young and chilling out, because I think things could go left pretty easy in life.
Yeah.
Easy.
That reminds me of when I watched the interview on I Am Athlete with Marshawn Lynch, right?
Yep.
And I watched the in the chats and that thing, everybody was like, protect. When they say when someone's so great, you're great. When people say protect Marshawn Lynch at all costs, he's a national treasure,
I
right?
already know.
there's there's like there's lots of people that people talk about that. Like Ryan Reynolds is another one, right? And he's another one, right? And I'll get back to like why I think that is in a minute because I want to talk about that, but I want to
Hmm.
get to the point where I brought it up. He was talking about a point. Fred had asked him a question, and he was like, what happened when? How did beast mode become beast mode? Because beast mode wasn't beast mode in Tennessee, and he was kind of becoming beast mode in Buffalo, but
Yep.
didn't become beast mode until he got to Seattle.
Seahawks. Yep.
And he was like, his answer essentially was like, he's like, something was missing. He's like, something was missing. I didn't know what it was. And long story short, he was just like, I called my mom and I talked to her, right? Because he
Hmm.
was a self-proclaimed mama's boy or whatever the case is. And he's like, all of a sudden, it was just like he felt full, right? He
Hmm.
felt full and like complete. And he was like, I hadn't talked to my mom like that in a long time. And then when he did, and that kind of helped kind of catapult him moving forward. And then he realized he needed that connection because he was a mama's boy and he could just tell her anything. He could be like, whoop de whoop, as he said, and
Yeah.
like what I love about Marshawn. But like that is important. Like I think with a lot of people dealing with anxiety and depression these days is we become so isolated. That's why podcasts, not only for entertainment purposes, easily available, but to be able to connect with people in a
Yeah.
way that we're not getting. The pandemic made it worse, right? So that same thing that Marshawn was lacking was just talking to his mom, connecting with his mom, whether in person or just in the conversation. He missed it. And then when he got it, he was like, that's what I was missing. A lot of people are missing this connection with people around them. They're around a lot of people sometimes, but they're totally alone. They got
Right.
nobody, you know what I'm saying? They feel alone, all that stuff. So that's a key thing. And maybe we could talk about it, moving forward or whatever, whenever it's organic or whatever. But that's a very important piece. Um, I don't know if there's anything you want to add onto that, and then I'll go
Uh,
to the next piece.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I think it's something that I definitely want to bring up on the podcast, especially like you said, man. You may have 1,000 people around you, but you still feel alone and empty, a little emptiness inside, and especially with mental health. I think I had my little experience a couple weeks ago, and even when I talked to some people, they were like, "Whoa, you're the last person to be talking about this, or you're the last person I expected to be asking me about a certain situation." And then, the person goes, "Well, I usually call you
Right.
to help me out with certain things." And yeah, so I think definitely, I think we should have a discussion on mental health. And I think when you said, I can't remember exactly when it happened, but I know you and I had a conversation. Could have been like 2, 3 weeks ago, and you said nature versus nurture.
Right.
Like, that stuck with me. Like I've been thinking about that, and I think that's something we probably. I want to have that discussion on the podcast with someone who's been through the mental stuff and deals with it, has been dealing with it for 20 plus years. And I think that what you said to me was so profound that I started to think about it, and let's see how I can uh, apply that to me. Um, and like you said, having a discussion or a podcast, that's what that does, you know because when you put it nature versus nurture, I was like, that is that's deep, because your
Right.
surroundings and the way you're brought up by someone, it affects how you see things and how you come up and how you react to things. So
Absolutely.
definitely, I think that's a conversation we need to have going forward, man.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good one. Bring some couple other people in there and we talk about it.
Yeah.
But the other piece of it that I think is very important when I mentioned, Marshawn Lynch is a national treasure. If anyone else has an idea who's a national treasure, go ahead and post it on the chat, and maybe we could talk about it. But like Ryan Reynolds and Marshawn Lynch, right? And I was thinking, I was like, what makes people
Wait, 1 second. Sorry to cut you. You
okay?
keep saying, you mean Ryan Clark?
No, no, no. Ryan Reynolds, the Deadpool actor.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking. Okay, so I was
Yeah,
thinking the older guy, Ryan Reynolds, is I think that's his name too, right? With the stash, talking car.
Burt Reynolds.
Okay,
That's Burt Reynolds. Yeah, yeah, that's the '80s. Yeah, same Reynolds, but they're not related. But so
go on.
yeah, those two people. So I was thinking two things, right? My son says two things all the time, right? So this is my two things. One is what makes somebody that kind of special, right? So that's question one. The second question is it's probably the same thing. Is like, what is it about that person that we think that they're a national treasure? The first thing you think about is like they're entertaining, right? Like, or they have a quality about them that you're just like everything they do is gold, is 100% fire, right? You're
Mhm.
like Ryan Reynolds. Every movie he makes, and just his personality is just gold, right? Marshawn, you can't hate Marshawn. If you
Mhm.
do, you got to look inside and be like, what's wrong with me? Because you can't. At least from and the way he portrays himself is real, and I think that's where the root. I think because I was doing this math in my head, right, and I was trying to figure this out, and I think the two comparisons for those two guys that I just talked about, Marshawn and Ryan Reynolds, and anybody else that you would consider a national treasure, they have this in common: they are without a doubt 100% like complete one of one themselves. They're not
Mhm.
trying to be anybody else, right? Marshawn is Marshawn, whether he's talking to the billionaire or he's talking to the fan or he's talking in the locker room. You're going to get Marshawn 100%. Marshawn's never going to think, I'm going to say this because of that. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm
Right.
just here so I don't get fined, right? Like, he's like, that's just, it wasn't a script. I didn't plan it. I just went because, I just said what was on top of my head. Ryan Reynolds, he's an actor. He probably idolized other actors, right? And he came out and he did Van Wilder. That's at least the first time I saw him. And I remember seeing him on Van Wilder and I was like, this dude is amazing. His delivery, his tone, his timing, and just his little quips that he does, gold. And he's been
Mhm.
doing it. And when they casted him as Deadpool, I was like, nobody more perfect to do that character with that comedy spin, and he does it better than anyone else. And he
Right.
could be in an action flick and he'll just give you a couple of them one-liners, gold. But the difference is they're 100% themselves. So what is that? What that told me was, be 100% who you are. Don't be afraid of what other people are saying, because 9 times out of 10, those people that are, talking down on you or making fun of you for being weird or being different, they
Right.
hate themselves way more. And they might even be jealous because you have the audacity to be as 100% you as possible. So they want to shut you down because of their own crab in the bucket type of mentality, or like, how dare he be that when I have to pretend and wear this mask? Don't
Right.
wear a mask. We wear enough masks out here. Be yourself and do your thing.
Yeah.
So
Be yourself, finding yourself. It's an amazing feeling too, though, man. Because like you said, it's not taxing on you. It's like you're not pretending to be this person because this
absolutely.
person's here. That takes a toll, man. Like you trying to be perfect to please everybody else, and you're inside, you're hurting, you're crying, you're not
And you're
helping yourself
tired
out.
and you're
You
exhausted
get
because,
tired, man.
like, there's a quote. It's like, like, say for instance, if someone told me, hey, be more like Teck. Now I have to try. I
Yeah,
can't be 100% like Teck, right?
yeah,
Only Teck can be 100% like Teck. I can be 50% like Teck, and that's work, because you're going
right.
against the grain of who you are. I could be
Yeah.
100% me, but we don't do that because of those things, the reasons that I said earlier. It's like people want to make fun of you. People want to tell you you're weird or you're odd or whatever the case is. Like, so what? Look at the people that are 100% themselves. They are treasures, national treasures. And I think it's
You
one of the
know,
reasons.
you know who's themselves? Uh, what's the singer from? Oh my God, John. The singer John with the glasses. Uh, the he's gay. What is his name? John.
You talk.
Oh my God.
You talking about Smith?
Oh
Sam Smith?
no, John something. He's a singer, piano, older
Elton John.
guy.
Elton John.
Elton John.
Yeah.
Elton
Yeah.
John is the
Absolutely.
same wherever you see
Right.
that dude. It could be at a funeral. He's got his glasses. Like, this is who I am,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. No,
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. And like I said, in the chat, for those that are watching this, now live, or watching it on a recast on YouTube or whatever, post in the chat who you think a national treasure is, and we'll see what's up.
yeah.
We'll communicate back in the chat. I know I do.
Also, if you just in the comment section, let us know what motivates you, man. Because like what Geo said, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that he said, and I just basically asked him that question just because we were talking about the quarterback taking it one way or the other, and yeah, man, what motivates you guys, man? Let us know in the comment section as well. Um, do you have anything, Gio? I got 3 questions for you. Drop the mic if you wanna do it.
Yeah. I might have two for you too. So I got two off the top of my head if I can remember them. But yeah, hit me with one. So you go,
Ay,
I go, you go, I go, you go.
ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, you want to put me on the spot, but
No, I'll take it easy, man. Um, King Kong or Godzilla?
I've always been partial to my fellow primate, Godzilla. You know what I mean? Like, he's he he seems to have more feelings. He like girls. You know what I'm saying? And then, even though Godzilla has the tail and the fire breathing, he got them little ass. He don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he got the whip though. He just whipped that tail, man.
Yeah, but he did that. He
It's
grabbed that
dangerous.
tail, and then like in the movie, he grabbed him by the mouth. You know what I mean? And we're just like, crazy,
So
man.
you
Godzilla ain't got nothing on
so you think King Kong is
King
distracted by
Kong.
by a woman? He's
No,
too
I just say
busy.
that he's a primate. So, like I said, I'm going off of the comparison. Like, I relate to him. He's a big jack gorilla. I'm not a big jack gorilla, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm a primate. He's a primate. I like girls. He likes girls. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? So,
Okay.
like, and I just think, I think gorillas are cooler animals than little lizards. You know what I mean?
No comment. All right, what do you got for me? I
All
don't know
right,
why you threw that lizard in there.
because Godzilla's a lizard.
Okay, I was
Um,
thinking something else. Okay,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
it,
if I should
it's
ask.
it's
Um,
my younger days in Cape Verde. Don't worry about it.
I got a question because I know that you have a, I don't want to say unique, but you have your own style of like music that you like that you don't care if other people like it. You know, like you always had the rappers that you liked back in the day wasn't like the most popular, but they were nice, right? They were low
Yep.
key nice. So
Most deaf.
that's exactly what I was thinking when you said that. Is there, or name one, maybe two musicians, band that you like a lot that someone who knows you may not like? You kind of like listen to it on your own. You don't really share that, not because you don't want to, but because like it's never come up. You got something like that in mind?
I got a lot that people won't even know who the hell they are, but I'll just say one that an artist that people know, people probably don't think I listen to. I love, love, love Doja Cat.
Doja Cat.
Man, I don't know what it is about Doja Cat. I'm talking about just man, her lyrics, the way she says it,
Her
um,
dance moves, just her aura.
everything about her I like, man. But just musically.
Right.
I mean,
I
obviously,
mean all the other stuff too, but I think musically, I
yeah,
think she's great too. Yep,
musically, I
absolutely.
think she's amazing, and I really, really listen to her music on repeat at times.
And she is like, there's a little bit of like a little Nicki in there, but she's kind of her own. Like she has her specific voice and
Yeah,
tone and rhythm to when her rap and her music that is it again, it goes back to like uniqueness.
I was just about to say, she's herself.
Hey, yeah, absolutely.
Even from her videos, you're like, wait, what the heck is all
Yeah, the
this?
first time I
It-
watched it, I was like, what in this? What?
yeah, it's like a Missy Elliott type of thing. It was like I
It's
do craziness.
definitely,
It's
yeah,
me. I don't care, and
it's
the music
awesome.
is good. The
Yep,
music
I
is
agree.
good.
That's a good
It's
one.
funny because I have it on my phone, and I was gonna ask you about Doja Cat or Beyonce. It's kind of weird, but I'm not gonna ask you that because it's like, all right,
Yeah, don't make me do that.
all right. I got one more for you. Hmm. Okay, now this apparently nowadays. Actually, I'll let you answer, then I'll add to it. iPhone or Samsung?
Samsung.
Ooh, I didn't expect that.
So
Ooh,
I've had a Samsung probably the last 6 years. Before that, I had an iPhone, right? And I'm change is good, but there's certain change I don't need in my life, right?
mm,
So if you've ever swapped from Samsung to iPhone or vice versa, it messes up your life for a little bit until you get used to it, right?
yeah.
It's like one day you just wake up, you're left-handed, you don't even know what to do, right? That's just kind of how my brain can categorize it, right? So to put into better perspective too is when I when we switched from Samsung to Android, no, no, the iPhone to Samsung, my wife and my kids went back to iPhone. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So my wife and kids, they have iPhones. So when they give me their phone and that bad boy locks up or whatever, I'm I don't I'm hitting the but I don't know what's going on.
I don't even know how to go back.
Bro, it frustrates me. There's a why are you doing this to me? You're rattling my goddamn cage, but you have no idea. Like,
Oh,
and it could easily be the other way. Like, had I never switched to Android from iPhone, I kept iPhone, and then you gave me a
yeah,
Samsung, I'd have an instant mini stroke, and like I wouldn't know what to do because I don't like that. That's the kind of change I don't
yeah.
need in my life. I'm all about change and for the good, but I'm gonna stick one way unless if it ain't broke, don't iPhone me.
Don't iPhone it. I will say I do like because it's an open source, blah 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 blah. But you do know there's girls out there that will not date a man with a Samsung. Like
That's
it's
their
a
problem.
thing.
I don't
I
give
looked
a
it up.
shit.
I'm like,
Yeah, you know why? They want those little bubbles. They text you and they're like, "Oh, you saw it because it told me you saw it." You
Bro,
know what
that
I
is
mean?
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, though. Like, you're not gonna date a dude because he doesn't have an iPhone. Like, I thought it was a joke until I
These are
looked
the
it
same.
up.
These are the same girls that are dating the wrong kind of guy and then wondering why
Well,
later. I
well,
doesn't. That's their problem.
well. Of course,
Sounds like a them problem.
they're dating a dude with an iPhone that beats them up every day and steals from them, and they're like,
You know
"Cool,"
why? Because
and
dudes
borrow
with
their car.
androids don't hit women.
Bro, don't start that. don't
If you
don't
if
start
you're an
that, man.
iPhone user, you're a woman abuser. Like, quote that.
Whoa, not true, not
And then
true.
those other people with the Google phones and all that, I don't even know what to tell y'all. I don't.
Oh no, there's nothing for them. There's no help. That I'll say. It
Uh,
not which one was it? Um it was the Microsoft one. I forgot what it was. They discontinued it. Those
yeah.
dudes was so weird. Bro. I tried to use one of those phones. I was like, bro,
Yep.
am I on an Xbox or am I trying to make a phone call? I didn't know what to do, man. I was like, it was like a bunch of little windows. I was like, dude,
Yeah. No, thank you.
I
That's what I mean. Like, you
I
don't need that
can't,
in your life.
man.
It's just
Nah.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Another thing, real quick. So Android and iPhone. So like if you have an iPhone and you like something, it says so and so liked, a comment, right? I don't know if you have an iPhone, but if you're in a chat group with someone who has an iPhone, it'll say like if you like something or you smiley face to it or whatever, like somebody emphasized or like blah blah. I have an Android. Android doesn't do that. This is the kind of person that I am. I will literally type
Y-
I liked blah 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 and copy the
Right.
comment and put it in the quotes because I'm weird like that. They were like, "Did you get an iPhone?" I'm like, "Nope." They're like, "How did?"
It
I typed it.
it's funny you said that because I was trying to use so my girl gave me her phone and I was texting her friend because she was asking me about a shirt. So I
Yeah,
said, give me the phone, I'll text her. So I answered her, and then it showed the dot dot that she's typing back. I was like, I don't like this.
yeah. Imagine when
'Cause-
the dot just stays there and then goes away. You're like, it gives you a level of anxiety. I don't need him. I don't
yeah.
care about it, but I can imagine somebody who does. Like,
I was
oh,
like,
you know,
what were you gonna say? You was gonna
yeah.
say something.
And you changed
But
it 3 times, so like,
what is it?
that?
Bro, when I saw that, I was like, yo, I don't like this, man.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
this is what
No,
I thought. Oh my gosh, she doesn't like my price.
yeah.
Why is it still dot dot dot? I was like,
I'm
she does
telling you,
not
it
like
gives
the
you
price.
anxiety. It gives you anxiety,
I
and
was
it's
about to
not
lose it.
necessary. You know what I mean?
I
I
was like,
saw,
first of all, what if I'm busy though? And I go, you know what? You know what? Let me answer you later. Let me pretend I'm
yeah,
busy. I want to
yeah,
lie
but
to
it,
you.
it tells them that you saw it or read it or something like that.
Right. But I'm saying though, as you're typing, you might
So
go, you
now
know
you
what?
saw it and you took forever to respond. I'm not important to you now, right?
N-
No.
Now
Send
it's a
something
problem.
better. That's it. It's a wrap. If you have an iPhone, you're dead to me. I'm just kidding.
Can
Because
you
my
imagine?
family, my
Can you
family has
imagine you did
iPhone.
that to your wife and you come home? She goes, what were you gonna say? What do you mean? You started to say
Yeah,
something.
I know. I
What were
know.
you gonna
I
say?
took screenshots of your bubbles. Your bubbles were going on and on for like, get the fuck.
Don't bubble
See,
me, man.
you don't need that in your life, man.
Nah,
No, you
I
don't.
don't.
You don't need it.
I
You know.
really don't. And it's
Um.
funny though, because I was like, I can't use this, so I stick to my Android, man. Anyways,
Yeah. Me too. So there was, I get like these little cartoon strips on my feed. So instead of newspaper, I use the internet on my phone to scroll
I,
on news. Right.
I was just about to say, are you okay, man? You still getting papers?
Nah, my
35
papers come
cents?
through my phone on. You go up on Google and it'll just show. You know, but like I get these comic strips, right? And there was a comic strip that was just talking about real life type situations,
Hmm.
and um, it's about young people, right? The young people that are like 18, 19, 20 right now, the late millennials or Zoomers or whatever you're calling them these days.
Hmm.
They they are so terrified, and it gives them anxiety to talk to people on the phone. You know that?
I didn't know that, but I can see. I can, I
Like
understand.
the cartoon was like the phone rings and the person's like, who can it be? And it's like blah blah, and it keeps ringing. It's like it won't stop. Like and then like I looked at the comments, people was like, yep, that's me, and I'm like, what? Because
Yeah.
if you have a relationship with someone that's between 18 and like 22, call them, see what happens. 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, depending on who they are and where they are, whatever, they won't answer, but they'll text, "What's up?"
Yeah, I've always said if you're a phone company, why don't you have a service just text? Because that's all they want to do is just text.
Yeah,
Click. They
right.
just want the internet and text. They don't even know. Bro, let me tell you something. I watched somebody live in Florida, right? Live on the strip. Dude is 22 years old. So his chat's like, yo, talk to the girls, bro. They all, they drinking. They're ready to chill because they're all on vacation. They're there the same reason you're there, right?
Right.
So dude was going up to girls. Uh, you could tell this is an older person watching. He was like, yo, ask for their numbers. And the girls was looking at him crazy, like, what?
Yeah.
And then somebody else who was young was like, no, ask for the
Yeah.
IG.
The IG,
Bro,
bro.
he had girls everywhere. He was like, yo, what's your IG? Oh my God. I was like, what?
Because
They don't
because
they don't even know, they don't know what numbers are.
yeah, and no, yeah, you ask someone for a number nowadays, it's off. But like, because there's a little more security to it, where it's just the IG, they could block you, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff. But that's just also how they do things. But I just find it strange.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, like you'd be on the phone with, and you're in like middle school, high school, and I could picture most of the older people. You're laying down, back on the floor, legs up on the wall, and like, no, you hang up, no, you hang up, no, you. And we were excited. When that phone rang, you know damn well 9 times out of 10 it's not for you. But you running to answer that phone.
I
That house
got
phone.
it. Hang up. I got it. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw you
You
in
know damn well
gym.
they
Yeah.
never hung up. They never hung up.
Who hangs up? Are you kidding me? I've heard all the dudes try to talk to my system. As soon as they got crazy, I was like, yo, yo. But that's funny though, man, because
It's different.
I I think it gets even worse though, Gio. I think not just the phone thing, it goes into like even cars, driving too. Uh, because a lot of the kids, they I saw a study where they're like, we got Ubers. What do I need to drive for? I just go over there.
Absolutely.
I go over there. What the
Yeah.
I got trains. Like that's how I get to school. Like who wants a car? I'm like, huh?
Yeah. I mean, things have changed and they made
But
it easier,
yeah,
but at the same time, it and us older folks will be like, that's not great, right?
yeah.
Like the fact
It's
that you have a phone and it takes you punch in the address, you don't even know how you got there. You're just looking at the map, right? It got you there. But also remember when we would travel interstate back in the day, you had this huge map,
right.
right? And you're trying to fold it and you damn near get in an accident if you by yourself, right? Or if you get lost, good luck.
Yeah. Every family try to look for a map guy.
Yeah, back in the day, you'd be like, "Hey, how do you get to XYZ city?" Oh, you take the 128 over to the 95, and you go over here. You take, what I mean. When you get to the McDonald's, you turn to right. If you get to the church, you're too late.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Mm.
Not to turn it into like old people,
So
talking
so
about the old days.
so basically our kids are gonna look back and go, my dad and my uncle did a podcast and they actually had to use a microphone and they had a camera. Uh, all we do is just blink twice and we're talking to each other. You know,
I know,
but
right?
it's gonna be like that, dude. It's gonna
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
really. They had a thing called microwave. We just snap our finger, it just appears and it's warm, and
Yeah,
then
just
once you
imagine.
eat it, it disappears.
Nobody poops anymore. God damn, what kind of world is this we're living in? A
Nobody
great
poops.
world, right? Except for the
That's
people who have a poop
funny.
fetish, they're fucked. Pardon my language.
No more farting a jar. Well, farting a jar might still be around.
It's gonna be small. It's gonna start off small
Ah,
pellets and then just gas. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Our assholes sew up like just
all right,
you
man. Listen,
superhumans.
I don't know if you got any more questions because we're talking about
I
caca
I
right now.
did. We're at 138. It's we could, I mean, I'm down. Like I'm having a good time. It's something different from the norm, right?
Yeah,
But
that's why I don't
if
mind
you're
it.
ready for a crazy question, I got a crazy one for you. It's gonna
All right.
require you. It's gonna require you to think outside the box, outside of
Okay.
what you already understand, right? And you may, I don't know. All right.
All right. Let's do it.
Question is about reincarnation, right? So I'm not gonna
What?
ask you if you. Your brain's already
Dude.
exploded. What
No,
happened?
no, no. Yeah, this is weird, bro. Remember when I talked to you earlier on the phone? I said I had a question for you.
Yeah.
That my question was about that.
Well, there you go.
Okay, okay. I don't know what your question is. I want to ask you the. Remember, I said I don't want to
Ask the
ask it.
question. Go ahead, ask the question, and then I'll tell you what my question was going to
Okay,
be.
so
Or if you
you
want me
don't
to
have to.
answer it, I'll.
You don't. You don't have to answer it. So I was gonna say, if you died and you came back,
Mhm.
would you come back as me or as your father? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wait. Just ask your question. Forget what I just asked. Do you see why I said I didn't want to ask it?
No, it's a good question. It's
It
like,
is.
but it's. I thought you
Ask.
were going to be like, come back as a butterfly or an elephant. You were like
Oh no.
me or your dad. I was like, damn.
First of all, you asked me that you said you had a question. You want me to think outside the box.
Yep.
That's me thinking outside the box.
Okay. All right. So you ready for my outside the box question
All
for
right.
you?
Give me your question.
All right. It's in regards to reincarnation. So whether you believe in reincarnation or not, right? Just pretend that you do, right? Whether you do or not, right?
Yep.
And I want you to do some soul searching for the question that I'm going to ask you, right? If you believe in reincarnation and you can tap into, because if reincarnation exists means that you've been here before, right? So if you've been here before, search your soul and your spirit, right? And think outside the box and tell me, one, are you a male? Because you're a human, right? In this world, you come back as human beings unless you want to come back as a butterfly, right? But human beings are a higher level of consciousness. So as you go up on the level of consciousness, as they say, you go to humans. But so, are you male? Or are you a woman, male or female, and why? And what nationality are you? And I want you to kind of just think and be like, just get into your feelings of your past. If you can find that connection outside the box, thinking what you think you were and why, and what feelings came forward to give you that.
So I got to be different than what I am now.
You don't have to be. You could be. It's what you feel. Just think and be like, was I a man? Was I a woman? And what nationality was I? And why do I get those feelings that was the case?
Hmm. It's hard to answer it. I know you said step out of the box a little bit. Just
Mm-hmm.
go with it.
Just
But
listen to your spirit.
yeah, it's sort of hard though, just because of what you already know, because that's still in the back of your mind. Like I know
It's not
who I
about
am.
it's not about knowing. It's about feelings.
Hmm.
In this case,
It is so hard for me
if you were to guess, had a
get
gun
there.
to your head, and I was like, "Were you a man or a woman?" It's my
I
gun.
was I would say, man,
Okay,
like
and
it's
you just feel more connected to the male energy than the female energy as far as
yeah,
your past. Okay, that's cool.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I
It's
mean, it's hypothetical to begin with, or whether you
yeah.
believe it, so it's not wrong.
Um,
But what makes you think that? He said you.
it's just what I know, and you know what I mean. Like I don't know anything else how to feel differently.
Okay, so what's your nationality?
To me, it's the same. I'll probably I don't know. It's weird because
So
like even now I wouldn't want to be
it's
anything else than what I
and
am.
they say,
So
well, that's you thinking now, but like from the perspective of like, some people said that they reincarnated as their grandfather, so it's possible to be the same
yeah,
nationality, right? So again, this is all
unless
hypothetical
I
stuff. Just
really
thinking outside the box.
sit and try to tap into it.
If
But
you try to meditate and tap into it, if you think you come back, be like, I was an Asian woman,
hey,
which is nothing wrong with that. I'll
yo,
be Amouranth.
the Ren is so sick. You know how you know who that is?
I know who she is. Yes, I have a vague understanding of who
The
she is.
chick who licks the microphone and just
Is that what she's known for specifically?
that
All that
just
she
licks
likes.
the mic on Twitch all day.
She makes billions, doesn't she?
Left ear, right ear. Oh my god, she what makes 80,000 80 to 9. No, I think it's close to
I don't know.
100,000 a month or even more than that. It's crazy. Just licking ears. So, but I don't know. You know what though? That's a question I'm gonna try to answer again on
Okay.
Hot Mic on the next pod because I really want to sit and tap in. I might be a Japanese samurai or something.
Hey, that's tight. You know
That's
what I'm
one
saying?
thing I admire. Like I do admire the whole samurai thing, So
Right. So what? So to get a little deeper to that. So what if like the things that you are somehow like passionate about or obsessed about, if reincarnation was a thing, that's the bleed over from, you know what I'm saying? So you got people
yeah,
that are like, you have people that are like unreasonably afraid of fire, unreasonably afraid of tight spaces. Maybe
yeah,
that's how they died in the past life. Like again, this is just, I don't fully believe in that being the case, but like, you know
right,
what I mean? That's a conversation for another time. But like, there are kids that there's hundreds of stories of kids that are three, like, oh, I lived in Ireland, and my name was John, McCullough.
yeah,
Like, where's this 3-year-old getting this information from?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And there's stuff on YouTube that you could find on that tells you that people believed when they were kids, and after a while, either they're forced to change because they got older, or they lost those memories because
yeah.
it was supposed to be wiped clean before they came back. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hey, man, that's homework. I really want to see what I get, and I'll honestly give you an answer next week. I'm not even lying. Um,
That's what's up.
I think
And
that would be fun.
that's something for the chat too. Anybody who's watching, sticking around this long or whatnot, and if you got an idea, just say male or female, and male or female, or what nationality, ethnicity, and why you feel that way. What makes you think that, right? Because there are kids that come out playing the piano. They could have been Mozart.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, that
They
is
come out
cool
here
though, man.
just no skill set. They never touched the piano ever, and then they just got it. Either that's great, where again, we talk about nature versus nurture. That's their nature. They came in naturally knowing how to play a piano somehow,
Yeah,
versus nurture being taught to play the piano. You know what I mean?
wow, I like that, man. I think I'm gonna try it out. Like you said, think outside the box. You just use feelings and see what you get. I'm down.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, that's that little thing we just did is called hot mic. I just think it's just different from what we're talking about. Sometimes you gotta just make it fun, and I think a fun podcast is talking about experience. If you're not afraid to talk about your experience, because I think people can learn from your experience. Um, and so it's good to share them. And like I said, I don't. We're not going to try to get too crazy where we're talking about like too personal stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that I think we can talk about, which would be amazing podcast. But you still got to respect the person, other people, involved. So, but yeah, we'll share some of our experience. Not the crazy stuff, but the
Maybe the crazy stuff. A little bit.
well, maybe like Geo said when you were younger, trying to find yourself, versus now where you're like, okay, I get it. This is how things go. Life is
Yeah.
can give you a kick in the butt sometimes. You just got to be strong about it. But yeah, uh, I think that 18, no, I would say 16 to 19, trying to find myself, man, I found a lot of stuff.
Found yourself, themselves, ourselves.
I found
A
a
lot of
lot.
selves. A lot of selves are
Oh,
being
man.
found.
Man, a lot of stuff got found, man. Oh, but it was great though, man. I would never take it back, man.
What's up,
Uh,
BB?
Shout outs to BBT. Appreciate you. So you got anything else, Gio? Or do you want to just we'll come back as soon as we can. We'll talk some more stuff.
Yeah, no,
Um
I think we covered a lot, man. We covered the things that we wanted to talk about, and we kind of spanned out and did some other things. So I think that's good. It's just a taste of like what some of the things that we talk about in general, because
yeah,
we'll talk, you know, a 5 minute conversation turn into an hour, easy, right? So we try to
yeah,
save it because some of that stuff's good content. It's good entertainment. Um, But I appreciate those that were on here. Cisco was on here. Durant was on here,
Yep.
or Crisco actually. But yeah, so like I just want to you know give a shout out to those that stuck around and those that'll be on here just watching on YouTube and whatnot. Just stick with us. Give us suggestions. We're down to like just chit chat and have a good time, man.
Yeah, put in the comment, man. Also, when we do hot mic, you know, we give each other like a multiple choice type of thing. I think that's fun. If you guys got something, put in the comment, and we'll read it on the next one. Uh, Even if it's funny, it could be sports, it could be anything. So whatever you come up with, just put it in there. We'll take a look at it, and then we'll talk about it. I know because of the Super Bowl, so this was sports heavy of a pod because that's what's going on right now. NBA deadline with trades. Super Bowl is here. There was so many sports stuff. So, uh, but we can't predict what's going to happen. So whatever happens following week, we'll try to bring it up. And if you guys have something you think we should talk about, yeah, just put in a comment. We'll do it. Um, yeah. So till next time, man, from CV Tech 1, Geo Genius 3. We'll see y'all next week. Gameplay over everything.